so near. That's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Grief Chat with your host, Mitch Carmody. And Mitch is joined today by somebody that is near and dear to his heart. And we want to welcome to the show also Barb Carmody, his wife. Great to see both of you.
Oh, great to be here, Bo.
So it's two for the price of one today. I like
it's
that.
It's a twofer.
I like that. How have you both been?
Great. We just
wonderful.
Wonderful. Living in Prescott, and Prescott Days just happened, and we just had to walk down the hill.
And I keep thinking I'm still planning summer things. Where did summer go?
Oh, I know.
What happened?
I don't know. So for you both, there's less to do because you have downsized your farm to now just a house, and I'm sure that's a big change, but it's all good, right?
Yes. It actually gives us more time to serve others. We're not serving the farm anymore, the animals, but we can really, what is important is working with people. And that's why that was the benefit. I found out that now these past 6-8 months, we've had a lot more time to do other things. And so it's nice. It's wonderful.
Serve and to play with our
and
grandkids.
To play.
We went to the beach for the first time in 23 years this year.
How wonderful. Yeah. How great. Well, Mitch, so tell us about your wonderful work. You are a proactive griever.
Yep.
And for people that don't know what that means, can you tell us, please?
Well, proactive grieving is what I call the philosophy of embracing your grief, becoming the CEO of your grief. There's no getting around it. There's no delay. Well, there is. If you can go around it, you can delay it, you can medicate it. But proactive grieving is just taking this is what life has dealt me, and what do I do with it? You know, and you work with it with the abilities you have and the abilities other people have around you, the resources you have, and you let people know you're hurting. And it takes years for people. So proactive grieving is just being yourself and modeling the grief after that. You know,
and I think it's finding your strengths and your gifts of what you have inside of you, and what is how resilient a person you can be.
Because we don't, like now this September we have some great guests on the show today, and we have a lot of things that I want to cover briefly to begin with, because it seems like September now the kids are back in school. I don't know why, but there's so many things going on grief wise here locally in the Twin City area.
Tell us, please.
And but just this weekend was the 10th was World Suicide Awareness Day. And so that's showing that people are starting to acknowledge that this is unfortunately part of our life and part of our society. And so to be more aware of it, to be able to help, and as well, Alzheimer's we're losing the baby boomers were huge. Now people are coming down with Alzheimer's because of this. You know, we're huge part of the population, and so a lot of this baby boomer population is starting. They say it's going to be astronomical numbers in 10 years, and so that's why there's a lot of awareness for proactive. Like Barb, you can talk about your father.
My father was diagnosed at the age of 55 with Alzheimer's.
Ugh.
He died at the age of 65. So yes, Alzheimer's has definitely affected my life, my family's life, and to just watch a young, vital person lose themselves and lose us as family members, it's very hard. It's very sickening, and so I think that the more and more awareness of Alzheimer's that comes out. People are realizing, what there's treatments that are coming out, but people becoming more connected. And Mitch, you just did a beautiful song.
Yes,
with
we
your friends.
just recently put this song together in video for Friday, September 21st is World Alzheimer's Day. Awareness around the world about Alzheimer's, prevention and treatment. And locally here, the Alzheimer's Walk in Minneapolis is this weekend, 9:30 at Target Center. I'm walking for my father-in-law and raising money for Alzheimer's research. And so that's going on this Saturday. And then also on Saturday at the St. Paul Compassionate Friends chapter, they're having a balloon release and a half day with my friend Alan Peterson, who will be doing workshops and a half-day workshop that day. And then on the 17th in Minneapolis, Alan will be again at the TCF chapter. Then on the 21st, or Sunday, September 23rd, there'll be an angel walk to remember our loved ones who have died in Minneapolis, Compassionate Friends chapter in Crystal. Monday the 24th, we have a book signing with Donna Mathowitz. She's an author and grief facilitator here in Hastings, and she will be at the Brighter Days Grief Center, fairly new, but establishing a brick-and-mortar building for helping people with grief and loss, that they can go there anytime.
And where is that, please?
That's in Eden Prairie.
Okay.
Right near the corner of Mitchell Road and Carmody Drive. It's very interesting.
Stop it.
Yeah, no, it is. Yes.
Really?
She goes by it every day. She goes, I go by your sign every day. They have a coffee clutch for men once a month, or 11 o'clock. They have coffee club for men can go and talk about grief. And same with the Alzheimer's. There are memory cafes, and they're all over the country now. They're popping up, and they're actually turning some of these memory cafes into reminiscent cafes. The whole decor is 1940s and 1950s. So when people come in, they automatically start talking about the stuff at the kitchen table we used to talk about in those days, and they start talking. They feel comfortable. They start talking about a lot of things, just being in the atmosphere of when they do remember. So there's so many things that we can do, and that's what I want to talk about. And then also Mitchell Lucas. Fourth annual blasting and casting event at Orlando Farm for pheasant hunting. It's going to be on the 29th all day long. Please come and support that and try to help. And this is for scholarships for Hastings School. And then Hope Rocks is also that weekend on the 29th for Face Lodge, which is at the Mall of America, and a benefit for raising funds for Face Lodge, which helps families who have lost a child or are facing the loss of a child in their life. So those are a lot of things going on.
A lot of things going on. And I know you also want to introduce our guest that we have that has called in
so I want to get through these because I'm so excited about our guest. Lynda Fell is on the line, and she is a good friend of mine. We've worked together in many different venues. She was down at Parkland with me, and we have a lot of colleagues together. I'll have to let Lynda get on the line, and you can ask her a few questions, Mo, because I don't even know where to start. She has done so much for the grief world.
Lynda, welcome to Grief Chat.
Thank you.
Lynda, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, my story begins in 2009 when we lost our 15-year-old daughter in a car accident.
Oh.
And just like anyone who has experienced a profound loss, it completely changed the trajectory of my entire life. And I had to rebuild every facet of my world. And long story short, I was blessed with an abundance of support, but I found many people were not. And it really hindered their ability to begin moving forward on the journey. And I also learned that when I help others, it helps my own heart to heal. And so from that moment forward, I started reaching out to people and doing one thing after another. And, it evolved into this whole world filled with unity and love, and it's been amazing. And so, when we lost Allie all those years ago, I could have never projected that beauty would come from it. And it has. And so I'm on a mission alongside Mitch and Barb and all the other wonderful people that we work with to really change the future of how grief is viewed and supported in our society.
I'm overwhelmed with your story, Lynda, and I'm so sorry about your beautiful 15-year-old daughter, Allie. Tell us about her, please.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we have 4 kids, so I have 3 here and 1 in heaven. And Allie was just really a lovely child. She was very driven and determined and dedicated. She was a 4.0 student and had dreams of going to Stanford and competing in the Olympics as a swimmer.
Oh.
And she was small. She was originally a gymnast and then broke her arm and turned to swimming. She was 5'2", but she never let that hold her back. And she practiced 4 hours a day, year round. And and at 15 years old, she was doing some really great things, and she died in a car accident coming back from watching Michael Phelps compete in the U.S. Open. And grief teaches us a lot about ourselves and about the world. And I live with Allie in my heart, and she is always near. And she's got her hand in everything that I do. And so I really consider it just a blessing that this whole world has opened up to me, because when I work with other people and among, Mitch and Barb are the best of the best.
No kidding.
And so even being able to, play a small role in different things that they do is such an honor for me, but it's all the people they serve that really give us the fuel to continue doing what we're doing. There's something very beautiful and sacred about it. And so as strange as it is, death really created a second act in life for which I'm very grateful.
Not unlike both Mitch and Barb, right?
Yes,
right.
Right. I mean, don't we learn? I mean, at first we don't, but we definitely learn about gratitude and grief. We find out what we really have and what we had and what we still have, and we have gratitude for that. And I think that is huge on the grief journey. And like I said at the beginning, it's really hard, don't you feel? But the collateral blessings that come into our life you cannot ignore.
Absolutely. And you're right, in the beginning, it's a journey for which it's really hard to see anything beyond the pain. And it's a rebuilding of self. And, but life is full of choices. And so we have that choice of either, just sitting in that grief for the rest of our life, or making a choice to fight to restore hope to our world. And I often think, there's nothing special about us. And so if we can restore hope to our world, anyone can. Sometimes they just need a little bit of support to do it. And love goes a long way.
Lynda, what did you do before you became a professional empowerment coach?
I was a mom, and I actually owned a small little boutique, and I enjoyed it very much. But my number one role was being a mom, and with 4 kids, life was busy and wonderful and magical, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And now life is very, very different, but it's also rich and amazing. And I figure if I can raise and empower 4 kids,
right.
I can empower anyone. I love being a cheerleader, and I love wrapping people in support and love and empowering them to take that next step. Because sometimes that's all they need. That's all they need.
Yes. The Grief Diaries. I mean, tell us about that, because when you're empowering people, I mean, you're a coach. You're a cheerleader for people to tell their story.
Well, I feel very strongly that the very first step toward healing is to validate the loss. And in today's culture, many people are not allowed to validate their loss. Within a very short time frame, they're told to get over it.
Right.
They're told to move on, and things that really add salt to the wound. So I decided that I wanted to give people a platform to validate their loss. And Grief Diaries is a series of books that contains stories by over 700 writers in 11 countries sharing their journey and their sacred journeys. And not only does it validate their loss for them, but it helps to heal both reader and writer, because readers say, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one. And yet they see through the books, we take them from the beginning to where the writer is today, and what brings them hope, what brings them comfort. It really matches those who are in those beginning stages, and it gives them hope that if the writers can survive, they can too.
Is there something that's universal on that journey?
Absolutely. And that's the thing about grief, is it transcends all differences. No matter what your faith is, your political beliefs, your ethnicity, your language, grief is something that is experienced by everyone around the world and has been since the beginning of mankind. And why it's so hard for our culture to wrap our brain around that, I'm not sure. But there is a movement, with Mitch and Barb and all these other wonderful, angels on earth who are doing something about it. Because when we're all born with human resiliency, but resiliency that's been externally fertilized by social support tends to serve people better. It really comes down to kindness. That's really what it boils down to.
You're right, it does. Barb and I were just talking about that last night. Just that one of the things about in grief is just being kind. I mean, in everyday life, just being kind.
Yeah,
but
kindness pairs with everything.
I think sometimes grief teaches us to be to pull back our kindness again. I mean, to find our kindness again, and it's a natural part of our everyday, and not looking for any type of agenda, but just being kind.
Yeah, and the beauty of kindness, and this is particularly something that I educate the bereaved on, is that when we give kindness, we get so much back in return. And so when you're in pain, it makes us cranky. And it's very hard to find kindness. But if you give a little bit, people who go out and heal others heal themselves. And so when you give kindness, you get back so much more.
So you're going to be bringing some of that into the ship, I assume. You're going to be doing that with some of the workshops on the cruise we're taking?
Absolutely. And I am teaching different workshops on the Journey to Hope Cruise 2019, and I'm super excited about it. I've never been on a cruise, and you promised me all of you promised me that I won't get seasick and that I will survive, and I'm super excited about it. But what I love most is just holding the bereaved, just wrapping my arms around them and holding them. Just giving them that love right there on the spot. So on the cruise, we get to do that. And how wonderful is that? Mm-hmm. And I'm super excited. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about Hugs from Heaven is one of my workshops. And I'm a big believer in signs from our loved ones. We could do 89 radio shows about that, and I could still be talking. But I'm super excited to help people open their hearts to the idea that their loved ones are still part of their lives. And it's going to be very cool.
We are so grateful you called in today, Lynda. Thank you so much. Lynda Fell, and she is a very accomplished woman. She's an international best-selling author. She founded Alley Blue Media. She launched Grief Diary Radio in 2014. And the list goes on and on. You have written over 30 books on navigating loss and finding help. How can people please learn more about your ministry?
The easiest way is my website. It's www.lynda with a Y, Fell, F as in Fred, ELL.com.
Pretty easy. Lynda, thanks so much for calling in today.
Thank you so much. And Mitch and Barb, big hugs to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynda.
See you in March.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Grief Chat, of course, is hosted monthly by Mitch Carmody, and we want to thank you for coming in today, Mitch, and we want to thank Barb Carmody for coming in as well. And you are listening to Grief Chat on AM 1460 and FM 97.7 KDWA in Hastings.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by.